Hey everybody, Ken Coscia here, the Silva Method's lead instructor and international training director, as well as the founder of the Trust Your Intuition Academy. Welcome. I am so glad you're here because in today's video lesson, and I hope to keep it as short as possible, I want to talk to you about a very important topic, visualization. How to be more creative in your use of visualization, more deliberate, so that it becomes your best friend and ally and partner instead of your enemy holding you back. Before we jump in, I have some tips for you, ways to improve it, ways to enhance it, some applications. I'd like to dispel some of the myths that go along with visualization. I've been doing this work for a long time, nearly 50 years, and the number one myth that I've heard too often is, not everybody visualizes. Well, in my experience, that is the farthest from the truth. In fact, if you look at the science behind it, it's how we process information. It's how we learn. Our brain is very visual, holographic by nature. What is true and accurate, though, is for many people, it is not so highly developed in their conscious mind and their ability to consciously use it. So I remember when I first started in 1971, I closed my eyes to visualize and there was nothing there. It was dark, it was blank. So obviously there are levels of development. You know people, you might be one of those people, when you close your eyes, it's like you have an IMAX screen and it's vivid and bright and dynamic. Well, we might not all get to that point, but it can be developed to the point where it won't hold you back with the right training and taking the time. Number 2 myth, all you have to do is close your eyes and visualize and manifest like magic. Well, I mean to be respectful with that, and I'm making fun. Yes, I am, because if that's all that it took, we'd all be like, whoa, baby. Obviously, and you know this. There's more to it than that. In fact, that's part of what happened when, you remember the movie The Secret first came out. Out of context, beautiful movie, fantastic, so well done. But out of context, it sounded like woo-woo. It sounded as if it was oversimplified. I want to take a look at that also here with that. So obviously there's more to it. It begins with that, and it's a big important step. Absolutely. And then the third one is, it's just so easy, which is part of number 2. I realize that. It takes time, it takes practice. Like any other skill, it can be developed. So let's take a look at some of the things. So for example, what I want you to think about now in your life, maybe you want to do something as simple as take a few pounds off. Some of my students, clients who have graced me with their presence over the years, I've worked with over 100,000 people in live seminars. I'm not talking online or, that's a whole nother topic, or videos, etc. They've taken off pounds, 5 pounds, 10 pounds, 80 pounds, 100 pounds more by putting into place the habits that they need to live by in order to do the things that actually help you to sustain good health and well-being and take those pounds off. Or maybe you want to enrich in a relationship. You want to communicate more effectively. You want to enhance that relationship. Or perhaps you want to take a few strokes off your golf game. These are things that I hear constantly from my students of ways that they're improving. It could be building your business, in building sales, going from 10, 20, 30% improvement. Or you want to overcome a ridiculous, irrational fear of heights, water. I can remember when I was first starting out as a Silva instructor. I loved it. I couldn't wait to do it. And yet when I went before a group, even a small group, I would shake like a leaf. It felt like my heart was going to jump out. I would get soaking wet and I would blank out. It's very, very common for people. It's one of the most common fears people have, the fear of speaking out, the fear of public speaking. You can use visualization to what's called mental rehearsal, or I prefer to call it creative visualize, positive outcomes. So let's take a look at some tips, some things you can do as an exercise. Please be mindful that I spend nearly 40 hours and 4 days in the Silva Method training with various dynamic meditation, guided meditation exercises, mnemonic devices, as they're called in psychology, and mental projection exercises, all designed to help you enhance your creative imagination and your visualization. Which reminds me, there's a distinction between imagination and visualization. And I'm going to add, thinking about it now, another myth. Ken, when I close my eyes, I see nothing. People confuse visualization with eyesight. It's two different things. You're right. Close your eyes. You're now not going to see anything because eyesight, your eyes need to be open. That's what seeing is. It's a verbal trap, and I'm not just talking semantics here, that people get caught up in. And then they try too hard, and then they get frustrated, and it gets even worse. So be clear. Eyesight, as our eyes are open, and we're looking around, seeing things, and visualization, which is controlled by the brain, this back part of the brain, vision, eyesight, recognition of form, is a subjective experience. It's non-physical. It has nothing to do with eyesight. So imagination is the art, the act of making things up, of thinking about something as if you've experienced it already, even though you haven't. Imagining, considering possibilities. Visualization is recalling, remembering what you imagined. See the difference? As an example, a famous exercise that mentors who trained me, who I studied with way back in the 60s, and then I've been using it since the 70s. It's the famous fruit exercise. And you can do this with any fruit. The tip is, when you involve all of your senses, it becomes more dynamic, it becomes more real. It's part of the exercise. So, for example, it's a hot summer day, and you're thirsty. So you get yourself a nice, tall, refreshing drink, and I want you to add some lemon juice into it. So imagine as if, and just humor me now, just play along. The more vivid you are, the more you play along, the more pronounced your experience will be. So you've cut the lemon up into little wedges. Take one of those little wedges and hold it, and remember as if you're holding it. Come on, everybody, that's it. Excellent. As if you're looking at the lemon, and you notice the outer skin is much brighter yellow. Feel it. It's rougher. And the fruit is much paler in color. You can see some of the pits have been cut. Now bring it to your nose and smell it. Can you remember the fragrance of a lemon? As if you're smelling it now. I know it sounds bizarre. Logically speaking, it's not rational. There's nothing in my hand I'm just faking it. You're right. But the brain doesn't make those distinctions. And by the way, when I started in the 70s, 1971, that was considered woo-woo. Now, neuroscience, and it's been so well documented. The brain, from a subjective point of view, when you vividly imagine something, and the more vivid it is, your brain acts on it as if you're actually doing it. Which is why people get caught up with irrational fears. Which is why people will think of something they don't like doing, and they have to do it tomorrow or the next day or next week. They're not even there, but because they're thinking, the thought is what? A trigger, like a light switch, and they suffer, and they get anxious and tense. It's like paying a toll twice. They're not even there. So that's what I mean by it's your worst enemy. When we don't control it, we don't focus it. So if you go back to the lemon exercise, now you're smelling it, right? Now put it in your mouth and suck on it. And you might get that extra saliva. You might have gotten a little taste. So taking that apart, holding it, cutting it, you're involving all of your senses as if you're actually cutting a lemon, holding it, as if you're actually smelling it. And could you actually smell it? Could you remember the smell? I know that sounds silly, logically speaking. From a subjective, creative point of view, not at all. And then when you put it in your mouth, did you get, usually I found about 95% or more people have that experience. They go, extra saliva. And meanwhile, you fooled your brain. So think about it, my friends, what you could do with that. When you could deliberately use it and focus it, that's the key. You have this ability, you have everything you need. It just takes the right time and training and practice to bring it. So I recommend practice that lemon exercise. Do it with other fruits, things that are easy, things that you've experienced. Because if it's something you've experienced before, initially it's much easier to experience that, to re-experience it, to remember it, and to have that effect, which will build your confidence and will help to open up these visual centers more. Again, be patient. Another thing is you could look at your car, study it, the lines, the colors, sit inside. Is there a smell? If it's a new car, you have that new car smell. Then turn away, close your eyes. It's always easy with your eyelids closed. And in fact, if you know how to reach an alpha state with your meditation, like if you're a Silva graduate or a Silva practitioner, you know this, very simple, easy. The key is not reaching alpha. The key is being able to what? Sustain it, control it, and focus it, which is what we spend 4 days teaching you. So if you go back and you just think of the car and remember as best you can, the smell, the odor, the size, the shape, the colors, maybe you saw some scratches that you're not too happy about. All of that helps to enhance the visualization. Or think of someone you really care about, someone you love, people in your life, people you work with, places where you've been. In fact, you can use this as a tool. I want you, and this is my challenge to you, not to take my word for it. You can use this as perhaps one of the most effective tools to manage distress, to help you stay calm and focused and productive, even under pressure. And when you do this, you'll also activate your intuition. You'll be more likely to have insights, creative insights, ideas. So for example, your happy place. Where have you spent time before where you've actually been that you like, you enjoy, and you find it soothing, you find you recharge your battery? For me, I like walking on the beach, working out on the beach. It might be walking through the woods. I live in a wooded community. Or it might be by a riverbank. Or it might be in the tub. It might be in a hot tub. It might be reading your favorite book with your feet up and resting, some nice music on. Call that your happy place. And anytime you're feeling the stress levels building up, if you just close your eyes, a few slow, deep belly breaths, and imagine that happy place as if you are there. So if you're on the beach, do you hear the seagulls? Do you hear the surf, the water coming in? Do you feel the breeze, the sun on your face? Involve all of your senses. It's what compounds the experience. And if you're using it for self-improvement, you can use this as an exercise in the morning. Best time to do it, before you get all adrenalized, before you've had your coffee. In fact, I hope you are spending at least 5, 10, or 15 minutes in the morning in a quiet relaxation exercise, a meditation. Ideally, it's dynamic when you actively think. First, get into that state. And what are some positive outcomes? It's called an outcome visual process. What are positive outcomes you want during the day? What will you be doing during this day? Who will you be seeing? What will be your activities? And you just take a few times as if you're there, only in a positive, bringing your best self, your ideal best self out with you. And do the same thing at night and go to sleep at night with those thoughts, those ideas. Your best self. That's my challenge to you guys. Find out for yourself. So I hope you found this helpful. And please, I would ask you, if you're finding it helpful and useful, and you know people who could benefit, please share it with them. If you're not already a subscriber to my YouTube channel, or you haven't liked my Facebook business page, or not following me on Instagram, please do. I'd love to share more with you. If you'd like to see more training videos on my YouTube channel or on my website, I have a blog page, and I'm consistently adding more and more. I'm working hard to bring you more content to help you enhance the quality of your life and take command, take charge of your life. So it's Silva Method of Connecticut or silvamethodct.com, and you'll find out more. So my friends, it is my hope, it is my intention that each of us will do good, make your contribution, have heaps of fun while you're doing it. Make your difference and thrive. Thanks so much. Until the next time.